Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to today's video. I'm going to be going over the new Infernoble cards that were announced for the archetype that's coming out in Duelist Nexus, which I think makes Infernoble a lot stronger and finally playable again. This deck suffered a huge hit when Hulky Fibrax got banned, as well as Link Cross and O-Line and all that good stuff. So for the fact that it's, I think, finally playable again after a long time is super sweet. So today I'm going to be going over my first iteration, my first draft after looking at the Infernoble cards. What I would do to try and build it, if just by looking at it initially. The second thing I want to do is some shoutouts to Noah and Charlie for helping me build the deck. They kind of looked over the new cards with me and build it, so I figured I'd give them some shoutouts. And yeah, let's get right into the deck profile, right? So we have triple Durando, which is Rhoda for the archetype, triple Heritage, and then we have Noble Arms Museum. So Heritage can actually grab the museum, and I'm gonna go over this card because I think this card is like super busted. It's one of the best cards in the deck, and basically what it does is it allows you to pay 1,200 life points to add a Noble Arms card from your deck to your hand. Obviously, it's another Rhoda, so whatever, more consistency, sure. But the second effect is absolutely insane, which is you can target a Noble Knight monster in the spawn trap zone and then summon it, which is crazy because it's that effect. The effect to add is once per turn per copy, which is the reason why I play 4 copies of this, because even though it's searchable off Angelica, I want to play as many copies of it as possible because of the fact that it makes your end board a lot better the more copies of this you draw going first, because you're able to summon Charles from the spell and trap zone after it's equipped for with the 2 Charlemagne. So I think that's really nice. So you have 3 triple tactic silence standard. I play 1 Almace. This is a new card that recently came out. It has a really nice second effect too, where like if this card's sent to the graveyard because the equip monster is sent to the grave, you can add back a fire warrior monster that's banished on the graveyard. So really neat effect. And then the first effect is allows you to equip an Infernoble equip spell from your deck or graveyard to an appropriate monster you control. So really good effect. Joyous allows you to add back a fire warrior monster back to your hand. And then the last card we play is 1 Phoenix Blade. We all know how broken Phoenix Blade is, so nothing there. We play Hornet Drones as well. I really like this card because Engage is able to search Hornet Drones. You can add back off Agari, get the Hornet Drones back, summon the Hornet Drones, and then make Ferocious Swordsman, which is a Link 2 Fire Warrior monster. So you're able to summon stuff like or not from your hand for free, all that good stuff. Rhoda for free. I think Engage is really good. The fact that it went to 2 is, I think, like nice. You can also like not start off with Hornet Drones and make a Soul Day. A Soul Day can send spell cards to the graveyard, and then you can activate Engage, so you get an extra draw as well. So I think that's really nice. And then 2 Widow Anchor. Neospace Connector and Dolphin. I think one of the biggest cards that will beat this deck is going to be Droll and Lockbird. So Neospace Connector is really good because it'll be able to counteract Droll. This is a degenerate card, to be honest, being able to rip cards out of your opponent's hand. So I think Connector is going to be really powerful just because of that reason. Be able to beat like hand traps, and of course, if you force your opponent to hand trap you, you can then like tack this look at their hand. So obviously a really broken card. I know it's not a fire warrior monster, but I think you should probably still play it regardless, just because it beats Droll, and I think Droll can be quite problematic for this deck. 3 or Nod. I think you could maybe cut this card down because your main normal summon is going to be Connector, but this card's really broken when you pair with Ogier, so that's why I still have it at 3 copies. I think it's one of the best recovery card in the game, so I kind of like it at 3. And then we have 1 Gearfree. Gearfree is really busted. I play it at 2 because you play a lot of equips in this version, especially with Museum, so you're gonna have a lot of equips. So this card is almost always live and broken. So if you hard draw it, it's like really nice. If you don't, there's combos with like Ogier plus like Museum to play around Nib. So I think you still play it at 2. You can get away with 1, but I like hard opening this card. Just couldn't find space with the 3rd one, to be honest. But I think 3 might be too much. I think 2 is like perfect. It's also level 9 if you haven't noticed yet, so you can actually make Baron with this card to play around like impermanence as well, or like pretty much any hand trap your opponent can have. So I think that's also really nice. But the card's really good. I have no complaints with it. I think there might be an argument to play 3 and make Baron with it as well. So 2 Ogier, that's like the 2nd best almost summon in the deck. Besides Connector, so I have it at 2 copies, and I have all the other Infernoble cards at 1 because they're all searchable off the spells, and I think honestly a lot of these you don't want to draw. You rather kind of like get access to them off the spells and search them as you kind of need. So Turpin is a new one. Turpin's really broken. I really like this card. What it does is that if you control a monster equipped with an equipped card, you can summon it from the hand or graveyard for free. But it gets banished if it leaves the field. And when this card is in the graveyard, you can target a warrior monster you control and equip it. So a really nice card in general. Then you have Risir Ardetto. This card is, I think, broken. You can banish from the hand or graveyard to summon a level 4 or lower fire monster from hand as a tuner. And then the other effect is when it's normal or special, you can reborn any level 4 or lower fire monster in your graveyard, but then you get locked into warrior monsters. But that doesn't really matter. But the fact that you can like reborn is like absolutely insane. I think that effect is crazy in my opinion. So yeah, this card is crazy. I really like this card. Then we have Oliver. It's one of the OG Infernoble Knight monsters. This card is nice. It can make yourself untargetable, so that's why you play double Isolde, play around Impermanence, and this card allows you to play around Impermanence on Isolde. So really good card. Fireflint Lady, because if you play the connector package, if you want to double Dolphin Loop your opponent, you need to play a Fireflint Lady. Because you don't want to link off the Dolphin and then bring the Dolphin back off of connector. 3 Ash Blossom, just generic. I'm gonna go over the side deck cards because I think this is really nice. But basically, you have a card called Horn of Oliphant that's, I believe, might be coming as a super rare soon in the OTS. But it's a card that lets you play around Dark Ruler. And you know, having an extra pop is really good, so I really like that effect. And then you also have a Frundir, which is against the trap deck, so you can like pop back row pretty much. And you have a lot more ways to search this card now because you have access to Museum. So Museum can just search this, equip it, then pop it back row. So that's really nice in my opinion. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I think these 2 cards are like really nice side deck options you can play for like utility purposes. For extra deck, we play Baron. It's a warrior monster, so even though you're locked into warriors, you can still make Baron, which is kind of nice. Charles, because it's part of their combo. Angelica, I think I play 2 because it comes up often to play 2 for like the combo. I play around Nibiru, so I really like 2. It's really good grind game. The card's also really broken because it comes back when you target it. And I honestly think this is like a custom card, but if you read it, like when you special summon it, you can add the Horn of Oliphant, you can add the field spell. And then when a card or effect is activated that targets this card, or when this card is targeted for an attack, you can send a fire warrior monster from deck to the grave. And if you do banish this card until the end phase, so you can bring it back. And then you can special summon a roll in from your deck or extra deck. So really busted card effect in general. And you play Captain Roland. Captain Roland is obviously really good. It is a monster that allows you to do quick effect equipped, and I think that's really strong. So no complaints there. It triggers your Charles to pop, and then we have the new Link 1. I know like Link 1s are usually broken, but this one's a little bit harder to make. It's a Link 1 that has 3,000 attack, probably the highest Link 1 attack monster ever. But what it does is you have to use a level 9 Infernoble Knight Charles equipped with an equipped card. And when you link summon it, you can target an Infernoble Knight Charles in the graveyard, and it gains that effect and it becomes a card. What's a really good ruling that you need to know is that like if you have double Charlemagne up, if you have like Charlemagne plus Charles up, which is possible through Museum, and you use the effect to like pop, it's still the effect of Charles that popped the card, and Charles says you can only use Charles's effect once per turn, so you don't get like 2 pops basically, you only get 1 because it gains that name and it becomes that original monster's effect, so you only get 1 pop, you don't get multiple. And it's a not once per turn spell and trap negate by sending a equip card from the hand or his field to the graveyard. So really good because I think like when you Dolphin rip cards out of your opponent's hand, the cards you're ripping are like spells and trap cards. So like Charlemagne being able to like negate spells and traps is like nuts. You play 2 because you can actually easily make 2 in the combo. So not much to say. And then we have Isolde. Obviously this card's like bread and butter for the engine. It's like so broken. It just eats a hand trap for free. Most of the time when you're putting a hand trap in this deck, unless it's like draw, they just like hand loop themselves. So yeah, Isolde is really good, godly. Obviously we know that. We play Kagari because of the Hornet drones to add back to Kagari to add back Hornet drones. Ferocious Swordsman because if you get Nibiru'd, it's a way for you to get access to a fire warrior monster, which I think is really good. So because all it takes is 2 monsters with different names, so it's basically a generic Link 2 for the deck. You have Unicorn and an access code. You have Light, Fire, Dark before you make access code, so you get like 3 pops, which is kind of nice. Artorigus because there's some combos that comes up with it, and it can pop back row, which is kind of nice. And then you play Zeus, so you play Widow Anchor and you play Talon, so I think Zeus is just like really good in this deck. And that's gonna be pretty much the deck profile, guys. If you guys want to see a combo video, let me know, and I can definitely show you guys that as well. But I want to see what you guys come up with. If you guys want to do some test hands with the list and see what kind of combos you do, let me know. I also think the deck is really cool because it's one of the more consistent decks of the format, and I really like consistent decks. You can see right here that like the deck just basically plays with every hand it draws, which I think is like really nice. Like literally people were breaking with Kashtira, but yeah, the deck also has a lot of recovery. So like this is one of those decks that even if you get Dark Ruler, because you have so much recovery, you can like reverse crack your opponent's board quite easily. There's also stuff you can do with like Revolution Synchron as well, and Power Tool Dragon and Omega. So like bring it back with DDR and like multiple times Omega your opponent. I think that's also another way to play the deck. But I don't like the Revolution Synchron build only because it takes a lot of space from non-engine. So maybe there's a better way to fit it in and then fit in non-engine, because I do still want some non-engine in the deck. But overall, hope you guys enjoy the deck list. And yeah, let me know how the testing goes for you guys. Anyways, thanks, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. See ya.